No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Sometimes you win pretty, like the Winnipeg Jets did earlier this week in Pittsburgh. Sometimes you win ugly, like the Winnipeg Jets did earlier tonight against the Arizona Coyotes. But all those wins added up together equal first place in the Western Conference. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platform, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, giving Ezra Ginsburg a well-deserved night off from this fine program. I say good evening to Dave as we discuss the Winnipeg Jets victorious tonight in downtown Winnipeg, that one off before they head back out on the road. It wasn't always pretty. It wasn't anything that they're necessarily going to love, particularly the back half of the game, Dave. But it is still a 2-1 victory for the Winnipeg Jets.
A win is a win, and for some reason, Drew is gone, which makes this the Dave Manouk experience. All right, folks. I don't know what just happened to Drew. He's no longer connected, which means everybody is here to talk about, no, Drew's back. Although he's not back in Drew form. Well, apparently, guys, hold on. Warren's giving me an update on the Moose. We've lost Drew. This is amazing, folks. No Ezzy. It is the Dave Manouk experience. It's the boy Bruce. I'm going to tell you, it is the Dave Manouk show. Didn't say Dave Manouk. You know what? I think this is my reward for going and meeting so many people today who have won Illegal Curve merch. Not all of you, unfortunately. So I promise I will be getting to the rest of you this week. But I did get a lot of them done today, and I got a chance to chat with some folks, which was always nice, and that was kind of a cool opportunity. Some of you who have received them in the mail, they'll be, I would hope, probably by Monday or Tuesday, and so I won't be able to get those ones out just yet. But it was great to get a chance to meet some folks and have some chit chats with the folks. So Darwin was one of the people that I got a chance to meet. And Alan, good point. Alan's telling me it's crunchy time. Well, it is crunchy time because courtesy of one of the NHL guys who watches the show, they knew that I'm not a fan of the crunchy chocolate bar. So for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, although you should, I see Dave, I was going downstairs to my seat in the press box, and waiting for me in my seat or in the seats that are hosted where the Illegal Curve are, was this in fact a crunchy bar. So perhaps I will eat it on the show. I'm not a big fan of crunchy, but I will say, I have to say, and this is, we've got some different perspectives. Eric thinks crunchy is the best. Someone else said, is your boy Bruce just said it's gross. Some people are wondering if Ezzy lent Drew his computer, but the funny thing is that maybe Drew did this on purpose. Maybe Drew was just trying to set me up. But he doesn't realize I like this. Good. Spencer, who I also had a chance to chat with today, he says crunchy is trash. But I will say, it was funny because I posted this on the Illegal Curve Twitter, Instagram account, and I'm surprised at how many people actually enjoy crunchy. I mean, what is crunchy anyways? Sponge toffee. I mean, it sounds disgusting. No offense, but I appreciate it. It was a nice sentiment. I chose to eat Smarties instead in the press box today. So no crunchy yet for me. But anyways, the Jets, Doug, there's another one. Hold on. I'm going to highlight Doug's comment. Doug, it was nice to meet with Doug as well. Get a chance to chat with him. And he was excited to receive his Jets overdue. And I feel bad because some of you, like Spencer, for example, and it was Spencer and Michael, who I delivered to as well. They had been waiting since game 8 and game 10. The weird part about Drew, he's back. All right. There he is. Well.
The optimal time for my computer to just demand that it immediately restarts. Just perfect timing. It's the icing on the cake of my day. Just that as I'm one of my wonderful soliloquies, and I'm sure it was going to be one of my most verbose introductions ever.
Yes.
My computer just says, bleep you, we're restarting. I don't care what you're doing. So I hope, Dave M., that you were able to man the ship as I know you were, is I was very close to taking my new computer,
And
throwing
smashing it.
halfway across the room, along with I poured a good sized glass of wine before the post game show started because I was
Yes.
a little stressed. I had a little bit of uh you know pent
wanna
up
talk about it?
anger.
Do you want to talk
Of
about
course,
it?
this is what I consider to be a counseling session.
Yes. Go ahead.
You, me, hundreds of people that have become like family to me, if not altogether strangers as well, but strangers can be family in a unique way. But I thought, okay, I'm gonna pour myself a nice glass of wine. The kids are in bed. It's Sunday evening. I'm gonna enjoy some wine along with the post game show, and my
Sure.
stress will dissipate.
Yeah, I
Well,
gotcha.
my stress is gradually dissipating,
Gotcha.
but it just went to about 1,000. So when I started the post game, my stress was at maybe, I don't know, let's say 100. And it was
Ooh,
gradually
that's
just, I
high.
took a couple sips of wine. Things
Yeah.
were getting to feel good. Then I just skyrocketed to 1,000. And now I'm gradually working my way back down. I think I might need my wife to bring me down the entire bottle of wine instead of just
Well,
the glass that I have.
So it's funny though, Drew, because I was listening to you talk, of course, but I'm multitasking. So I was trying to get a
Yes.
few things done on illegalcurve.com.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, we've been doing the show long enough that we can read each other, even if we're not making like visual contact. So I could sense you're getting ready to come back to me. So I'm like, okay, I better come back and look at what is going on here with Drew and get ready to say my piece,
Yeah.
get my intro on. And then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, it was weird because not only did you reset, but like you went to like and I don't know, I'm not sure why, but for whatever reason, our default is the Tough Duck
logo. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm not
why.
certain why, but anyway, so then you were just gone. So then I'm like, okay, I'm like, Drew's gone. And of course, as everyone in the chat knows, that's just my battle for my ultimate goal, of course, is to give everyone the Dave Minuk experience.
Yeah.
Since Drew right now is the only person of the three of us who has ever done a Drew Mindell experience.
Yes.
So I was hoping that I would get an opportunity to give a Dave Minuk experience. And then, but within seconds, realizing I didn't have a lot of material, I started talking about the old crunchy bar that the folks at the NHL left for me at the Illegal Curve seats. And then we descended into talking about all the people I got a chance to meet today, Drew, and all the jerseys I delivered, not just jerseys, but, people who won prizes, IC merch, Jets gear, which is, authentic Jets gear from IC.
Right.
So that was great to be able to meet some of the people and have some good conversations. And like I said, we're going to do that again this week. So all of you who haven't received it, trust me, I'm doing it in sections. So I'll be hitting the North Kildonan area and Regent tomorrow. So if you're in North Kildonan, you're in Regent or Transcona, wherever, I'm not going to be too particular. Don't worry. You'll be getting your stuff tomorrow. Might even make it all the way out to far down on Henderson. We'll see.
See if there's enough time. Little Bed Bath and Beyond. Dave's got a busy day ahead of him.
Oh, Rob's trying to get me in trouble. Who is my favorite person I met? I am not picking favorites. I do not do that. My family likes to force us to pick favorites. So that's very much a shtick of the Minuk family, but I'm not going to, you're all my favorites. That's what I'm going to say.
That's a very
and to be honest with you,
and a very political
no,
and
but
very
it was true.
wise answer.
Again, the truth is, like I said, I actually enjoyed talking to absolutely everybody, and it was nice to. It was nice. It really is nice to make human contact with people. And even though although I will say Spencer did bring up something that I've been championing for a long time, and I'm going to put this out there for the chat to hear. Almost 200 of you right now, and hopefully a few more coming along. But remember, folks, Spencer said we need to have some sort of IC meetup, something of that nature, whether we do it during an away game or another time, we just do something. We'll see. But that's definitely something that I've been in favor of. And obviously the pandemic slowed down that goal. We were going to do it last year, but we are definitely going to get it done at least once, maybe twice before the season ends. And we'll have some plans for the playoffs as well. So don't worry, stick around for that. We're going to have lots of fun things coming your way the remaining, 38 games of the season, something like that.
Yeah, this was game number 44, and game number 44, leaves the Jets in first place in the Western Conference. And it's hard
plan
to
the parade, Drew.
Well, I mean, you know what? I know we say that tongue in cheek, and everybody says, plan the parade sort of tongue in cheek, but it's beginning to become just a little bit more realistic game by game. This was not the prettiest effort that the Winnipeg Jets have put forth this season by any stretch of the imagination. You sort of have to feel a little bit bad for the Arizona Coyotes. I mean, last night, this is second half of back-to-back for them. They played last night in Minnesota against another, high quality team in the Minnesota Wild, and they lost to the Minnesota Wild by a score of 2-1. And they played a decent game in Minnesota, by my understanding. They come here, and they were very, very poor to start the game. For the first 30 minutes, they were very, very poor. Let's not sugarcoat it. They had 4 shots on goal through the first, basically, maybe 28, maybe 30 minutes of the game. And then they got the goal by Clayton Keller, and we'll get into it when we get into the Betway game recap. But for the Coyotes I thought they were the better of the two teams in the third period and in maybe even the latter half of the game. This was not the Winnipeg Jets' best effort. I don't know if the travel, if the games caught up to the Winnipeg Jets. Again, this is 3 and 4 nights and 4 and 6 nights. And we know the stretch that they're in from now right through the end of this road trip, this 5-game road trip. And until the end of the month, things are busy for this Winnipeg Jets team. And then they get that 2-week break, which I think is going to come at a very good time for them. But the Arizona Coyotes, I thought deserved a better fate than to lose in regulation during today's game. The Jets are not going to apologize for winning in regulation and for not going to apologize for a timely goal that was the game-winning goal off the stick of Blake Wheeler that we'll get into. And, of course, some saves made by Connor Hellebuck and a post where it looked like the Coyotes had an empty net to shoot at. And, of course, Pierre-Luc Dubois, just the same way, hit a post from the Jets' perspective. So, this was not anything that's going to go into the Louvre. This is not going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame as one of the prettiest hockey games ever played by no matter. But the Jets will take the 2-1 lead, the 2-1 victory. They'll hold their nose a little bit, but they'll take it nonetheless, Dave.
They will indeed, Drew, because again, you don't apologize for wins. You put them in the pocket and you say, okay, you learn what you need to learn from it and you move on. And the Jets, look, it's funny. It's funny actually how people look for things to criticize. And I'm not suggesting you right now, to be honest with you, because again, it was a good start to the game, and Vejmelka continues to Vejmelka the Jets. And so you've got to give him
numbers against the Jets.
You got to give him credit. He's been phenomenal every time the Jets have ever seen him. To be honest with you, there's a reason why the Coyotes don't want him in net anymore. And they've said he's too good.
Yeah, they're like, we want for them.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want this guy. He keeps winning hockey games for us. There's a reason why you heard. I just recently read something that he was available in theory. So it's crazy because he's the only reason that Arizona was even in the game. The Jets, like I said, the Coyotes weren't in for the first, at least 40 minutes of that, or maybe 30 something minutes of that hockey game. They weren't, they had a 4-minute power play. They had 2 shots on it or 3 shots on it. It was not, they had 1 shot in the first, 12 minutes of that game. So it wasn't looking good for Arizona.
No.
But the point I was going to make is it's funny how you sometimes look at people wanting to nitpick the Jets. And I read an article, I don't know if I think it was the Hockey News, and they were talking about the Central Division, and they were giving out their grades. And it was almost like they were holding their nose while complimenting Winnipeg because
damning with faint praise almost.
Yeah, it was almost like, well, you'd like to see them win a few more games in overtime and not have 14 losses. And I'm like, are you really complaining that they have 14 losses? When all the top, Dallas has 14 losses. It didn't make any sense. And if you look, the Jets have for regulation wins and regulation and overtime wins, regulation and overtime wins. Obviously the Jets are the number 1. I think they have 29, but even just regulation wins, they're 22. They're one of the top teams in the Western. So it seemed very unusual for teams to it just seemed unusual that they were nitpicking given and then they still handed the Jets an A. So it was funny because but again, it was almost like it was a mirage. And I'm like, guys, it's at this point 43 games into the season. This isn't a mirage. This is who the Jets are. They're a pretty good hockey team. Am I saying they're the best team in the NHL? No, I don't think they're the best team in the NHL. But they're up there. And they've got it. And we talked about it for Drew for almost 2 hours on the Saturday show.
Yeah.
If this team makes 1 or 2 moves, it's hard not to see them being a challenger to win the Western Conference.
They're in first in the Western Conference. It's game 44. It's January the 15th. This isn't game 12 anymore. This isn't game 24. you can't just keep moving the goalposts as to when a team is for real.
Exactly.
They are for real. They are the best team in the Western Conference. They are atop the Western Conference. I mean, they don't have as many, regulation wins. Oh no, I mean, let's be honest. They now have as many regulation wins as everybody in the West. For a while there, that was an area of concern for me. Maybe going back 6-8 weeks. I made a comment that the Jets' record to me was inflated by the overtime success, but now they're winning in regulation. All the teams in the Western Conference, the Jets, the Stars, and the Kraken, and the Oilers, for that matter, all have the most number of regulation wins with 22.
Yeah,
so
that's it's like, that's my point though, Drew. It's like an outdated narrative. Like, you're right. Fine, if you want to say a month ago, that may have held, but it's not a month ago. You're not a month ago. And Drew, I mean, Spencer just donated $2.79 for you to say it.
Spencer, have you not learned anything from watching this show? I don't work cheap, my friend. I don't work cheap. Dark Moon wants me to smile and wave. I'll smile and wave. But Spencer, if you're going to try and pay me off, my man, you got to at least have it start with, a 3.
Yeah, like $3.21.
I'm a reasonable person. At least give me $3.79. I for my if you want to hire me on Cameo, I'm going to charge you at least $3.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if you had Cameo? Actually, the only person who could have Cameo amongst us would be Ezzy.
Yeah, but then nobody would ever get their cameos. He would just take their money, and then somehow he would get sued, and somehow he'd lose his house. I mean, we're not quite sure how it would all work out, but it would work out that way. In any event, the Winnipeg Jets victorious tonight by the 2-1 margin over the Arizona Coyotes. Not the prettiest game, but a win nonetheless. Let's get into it. The Betway game recap won't take as long as some of the more recent games have taken.
By the way, speaking of our friends at Betway, Drew.
Yes.
I noticed that they're back available on the boards all over the. They're on the board. They're now the pregame show sponsor for Winnipeg Jets games. So
there you go.
There you go. So they're back on the ice and on the pregame presentation. So a lot of continuity from the Jets game, and you keep that Betway continuity here with the Legal Curve postgame show.
There you go.
And exactly. Sean Reynolds brooding pessimism.
That's right. He says.
By the way, am I Sean's assistant? Someone wasn't able to get a hold of Sean, so they sent the email to me.
Somebody wasn't able to get a hold of who? Sean Reynolds?
Yeah, someone wanted to get a hold of Sean Reynolds, and they're like, so they found me, and they're like, can you give this to Sean? Which I will do. I'm fine to do that, but I just thought it was funny.
Was it somebody that Sean wants to speak to? Was it a secret?
No, it was just no. It's just a Jets fan who wanted to share some insight into the. Yes, thank you, Spencer. Sup. Thank you, funny. Spencer, and In Bones We Trust.
Yes, we appreciate all those. Your generosity, folks, is very much appreciated. It's completely unnecessary, but we do appreciate it nonetheless. And I am willing to work for $0.00. So I will say anything you basically want me to hear from me. That's my commitment to you, good folks. The Betway game recap. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
That's the Jets win 2-1. The Betway game recap is brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years and older to play. Please play responsibly. Before we get into the actual goals, we're talking about the dominance of the Winnipeg Jets to start this game. The first period, I don't know that I've seen a possession disparity this significant. First period, possession numbers for the Jets, 81% to 19% by the Arizona Coyotes. That's not just one-sided. That is comically one-sided for the Jets to be having that much possession. But, nonetheless, they weren't able to get any goals in that first period, Dave.
It was bizarre, Drew.
Yeah.
Well, they got a goal in the first period.
No, they didn't. It was the second period where they opened the scoring.
Oh, right. It was 0-0. Yeah, you're right.
Play.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. Did I get something wrong?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. No, but Drew, the funniest part was, you're right. I looked at the possession numbers, and I actually thought there was a glitch Like I went to natural stat trick and I was like, it was like 100-0. Like it was like, what is going on? Like, is this actually accurately representing what happened in the game? And again, eye test analytics, they both kind of told the same story. You saw the shots were 9-1. It was actually ridiculous to watch that hockey game. And you're like, they had no high danger chances. They had 4 total shots, 3 of which, like I said, came on a power play, a 4-minute power play, which didn't look very good. I was actually shocked to see. And look, the Jets penalty, you got to give them the credit, right? They're the 4th best penalty kill in the NHL right now. I was actually shocked to see that Arizona's power play is 23rd. I really did. I think it would be in the.
You thought it would be worse?
I did. I thought it'd be like 30th, 31st or something like that. But regardless, they couldn't take advantage of their power play. It looked disjointed. They ran against themselves. And then when they didn't, the Jets were good, or Connor Hellebuck was good. But it looked like a team who had lost coming into tonight's action 8 games in a row. And it looked like a team who played last night.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so that's when, again, it's always about narrative, right? But you wondered, were their legs heavy and would that burn off? And we saw that actually is what happened. But for that first period, it was twofold. One is you're like, the Jets are going to just eat these guys for lunch. Like, this is just a terrible, like the Jets are dominating them.
Yeah.
But Vejmelka is doing what he's done against Winnipeg so many times. And that is your hesitation. If you're, I'm sure, a member of the Winnipeg Jets team, who sometimes these guys don't have the longest memories and they don't remember that they've played against this goaltender before. But I would imagine Vejmelka is a little bit in their head.
I think they definitely know that they played against Vejmelka and that he's played well in this building, and he's played well against the Jets previously. Look, every time that the Jets play the Coyotes, and this is the second of 3 meetings this year, I can't I forget after each and every game that Zach Kassian is still in the NHL, and then the Jets play the Coyotes, and I remember that
he didn't play tonight, did he?
Yeah, he did. Zach Kassian played. He did, Dave. He played 4.5 minutes for the Coyotes tonight. I mean,
okay. Well, first of all, no offense, playing 4.5 minutes in an NHL game, like, why are you playing?
Well, I mean,
you may as well just be sent to the AHL at that point.
Well, I mean, it's a sign.
I'm just telling you right now. Like, I had actually, and I have no problems admitting this. I had no idea Zach Kassian played in this hockey game.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, he shouldn't be playing in an NHL game.
No, but I don't really care whether he should or shouldn't. But right. I'm just saying, like, I'm telling you right now, like, it's amazing when you watch games. And again, I'm watching the games, especially in like a game that's only a 2-1 game.
Sure.
It's not hard to pay attention to what's going on. It's not like there's a ton of external things happening that I have to pay attention to.
Right.
I'm watching that hockey game. I'm telling you right now. And he had no impact on the game, clearly.
Well, he played 8 shifts in the entire game. So, I mean, when you play 8 shifts and you're Zach Kassian, you're unlikely to really be impactful. But, Dan Robertson had to say his name once. And that was my reminder that Zach Kassian is both still playing in the league and is, I'm going to say he's a contributor, for lack of a better word, to the Arizona Coyotes simply because he's taking a roster spot.
I was going to say, Drew, the only way you can call Zach Kassian a contributor is if you say he contributes because he's on the cap-friendly cap. He's against their cap. That's about the only way that he's contributing in my mind.
Well, he's contributing to their quest to be towards the bottom of the standings in the NHL. How about that? In any event, it takes until the Jets dominate the first period. The shots are as one-sided as can be, 12-4. The possession numbers are hugely one-sided. I mean, the Jets are in control. They don't get any goals in the first period, but they do early in the second period. It comes on the power play with Lawson Krause in the penalty box for tripping at the 37-second mark. Pierre-Luc Dubois, he's up to 20 goals on the season, a 20-goal scorer for him. Josh Morrissey, he's up to 40 assists on the season, and Nikolai Ehlers getting the second assist on the power play goal. It's Pierre-Luc Dubois doing what he does best, causing havoc and tipping pucks, and it's a good shot by Morrissey, very tippable puck, and Dubois does that, and to give the Jets the 1-0 lead. And my thought when they finally scored is, okay, now the floodgates are going to open. Now, the Coyotes have been, they've been holding on for dear life just to, get to this point of the game and only be trailing now by 1 goal. The Jets are going to, any effort the Coyotes were going to put forth was going to sort of be done with at this point in time. And then the Jets would take control of the remainder of the game. But my friend, that is not what happened at all.
No, and you got to give the Jets credit because they took advantage of this opportunity. And I actually thought Morrissey scored. Like, first watching it live, and it's, of course, that's right in our end of the press, right underneath us in the press box. So I thought for sure that ended up being a Josh Morrissey goal. And then you see that, like I said, you watch the replay and you realize that it was a nice tip by Dubois. And then I got to give, I know people like his "Hey Baby," but it is hilarious to hear the crowd singing the music after the fact. So he is this clearly, and you've heard it not necessarily 20 times here in Winnipeg, because obviously all of his goals aren't here, but you've heard it a number of times in the city, and folks seem to really be into it. And again, it's one of those things, and that's one of the atmospheric things I would take note of, Drew. I'm not doing this isn't a weather show, but I would say like it's one of the things that you've noticed with the atmosphere inside Canada Life is this idea of the folks singing along, and you can see that they're energized. And there hasn't been a home game since last Sunday, and there's not going to be another one now for a while, because they've got obviously the 5 on the road after tonight. So the crowd was good. It was a good crowd. Everybody was there early, and like we've seen people getting to their seats late, and the building is a little slow. But Bailey, the intern's doing the she's got it, but it got the crowd going. And again, it was a milestone for a lot of guys, right? Like Dubois, he's on pace for 37, which is a career high for him. Josh Morrissey's on pace for 75 assists, but he hits 40 for the first time in his career. And Nikolai Ehlers, he's up to 3 goals and 6 assists now in the last 4 games, and he's played 5 games total. So
I think I saw a comment you talk about Ehlers, because there's the rush in the third period where he came in, with momentum, with the blazing speed, and somebody in the chat said it almost seems like he's faster than before, which is hard to believe, and it's probably not the case, but he just seems to be playing at such a high clip right now, and that when if he's got some push behind him and you're the least bit flat-footed against him, you have no chance. Like, defenders have no chance against that speed. I don't care who you are trying to defend against that. He's probably going to be able to outrace you and use that speed to create a dangerous opportunity. They're not all going to go in, but they're more often than not, they're going to turn into something very dangerous for the Winnipeg Jets.
But and look, that's exactly what you needed. That's the kind of start you needed, and that's the kind of reward you needed from this Jets club. And it's interesting because, again, Pierre-Luc Dubois wasn't screening Vejmelka. He was at the side, but he still managed to. And you do wonder, because with Josh Morrissey, you never can tell. I don't know if he was shooting that for the tip or if he was shooting it for the top corner. Like, hard to know. You'd have to ask him to get an honest answer. And with Josh Morrissey, you would get an honest answer.
Right.
But you don't know. But regardless, like I said, it's a good way for the Jets to start. Gets the crowd going. Folks are singing, and they're up 1-0.
Yeah, exactly right. They're up 1-0, and the Jets are feeling good about themselves. But to the Coyotes' credit, they fight back. They still are fighting. I thought maybe they'll wilt. They don't have a shot, mind you, but when you're only down by a goal, it only takes a very brief miscue, or it only takes one shot on goal to tie the game. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. Clayton Keller, a player whose talents are being woefully wasted because he's a dynamite hockey player.
It is a shame. It is a shame.
You hope that at some point soon, better days are ahead for the Coyotes organization, so that a guy like Clayton Keller can revel in that success. Although the consolation prize of living in Arizona isn't so bad, and getting paid millions of
and
dollars
paying like no taxes.
So. Yeah, exactly. It's Clayton Keller, his 15th of the season, assists to Schmaltz and Chychrun, and he just demonstrates a great deal of patience. And the Jets are, I don't know if they're running around. I don't think that's probably the right description, but they're just sort of caught. And he's got the patience, and they're doing everything that they can to try and knock the puck off of his stick, but they're flailing. Maybe flailing would be the right word. In this case, and he waits and he waits and he waits, and just when you think that he's waited too long and maybe he's put himself out of position and he doesn't have the angle, well, he's a damn good hockey player for a reason, and he finds the angle and he gets it in the net, and all of a sudden a Coyotes team that is, I think this is their 5th shot of the game, and you're at the 11:02 mark of the second period, which means you're basically halfway through the game, and you have maybe 5, maybe 6 shots. All of a sudden they're tied up at 1, and that's a boost to them and a little bit of a sag for the Jets, I would say.
Yeah, there's no question about it, because they hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that was their first shot of the period, right? It was just like you said, it was their 5th shot total, and you have to give him credit. I mean, he's an excellent shooter. And what did he do? And, I think flailing was a perfectly appropriate adjective, Drew, because it describes what Adam Lowry was left doing.
Yeah.
Because he was flailing on the ground, trying to take away the bottom of the net, hoping that Connor Hellebuck had the mid top part of the net covered, and he was a bit out of position. So you could see he's coming over. But it was reminiscent of the goal Mark Scheifele scored against the Penguins the other night, where the net is pretty wide open. I mean, obviously it's not identical, but it's similar in that nature, in that he has a lot of open net to shoot at. And so, yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit. He waits, and look, he's got 15 goals, and he's a good shooter on a pretty bad team. But you give him credit because it's a nice goal, and it's a goal that if you're a Jets fan, is deflating because you again, Vejmelka's in your mind. It's like he's got voodoo, and you're wondering how many goals you're going to score against him because he's a good goaltender. I mean, and he's proven that against the Winnipeg Jets. And like I said, a number of other teams this year. And even though Arizona isn't a good team, a good goaltender on a bad team can still win you a game. We've seen that before.
Look, you can totally. They have a goaltending prospect who's in the system that they're really high on, which is a part of the reason also why you hear Vejmelka's name on the trade block every now and then, because they could probably fetch a pretty penny for him, given what he's doing on a terrible team. You put him, behind a better team, he would probably, even have some better numbers and things of that nature, and get even a little bit more notoriety. Plus, he would, he'd cost a fair bit to acquire. So you can sort of understand it from the Coyotes' perspective, because they're not really interested in winning games. The organization isn't, hence the Zach Cassian playing 4 minutes into the hockey game. But the players themselves, never want to lose. They still have the professional pride. They still have the professional desire to get a win in the ledger. You think these guys want to lose game after 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 game? Sorry, I was skipping there for a minute or two, but they don't. They want to get a win. And so the Coyotes, to their credit, really took it to the Jets from the back half of the second period through the remainder of the game. They had the advantage in the possession numbers from the second period and the third period. Coyotes 57% to the Jets 43% possession numbers in the second period. And then in the third period, even more lopsided, 62% to 38% for the Coyotes. So the Coyotes, I'll give the players credit. When things weren't going their way, and when they were down 1-0, and when they had 4 shots on goal through the first 30 minutes, they could have just stopped playing. But they fought through it, and they really made it difficult on the Winnipeg Jets. And if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck making a number of timely saves, and if it wasn't for Blake Wheeler and his 11th goal of the season, coming at the 16:45 mark of the second period, with assists to Mark Scheifele and Cole Perfetti, you wonder what would have happened in tonight's game. That goal, the game-winning goal by Wheeler, you saw the smile on his face. Everybody saw the smile and the chuckle on his face. Yeah. That's a great goal for Wheeler, because he starts the play and then he finishes the play. And it looked like the play was a dead play. It looked like Perfetti had taken it a bit too deep, or was maybe trying to be a little too cute, which might speak to the Vejmelka being in their head idea rather than shooting from a prime opportunity. He took it in deeper, and then it went to Scheifele. He got it to Scheifele, and Scheifele got it to Wheeler, who was uncovered to put it behind Vejmelka. But it sort of was a bit of a broken play that at the same time was pretty and worked out for the Jets to end up being the game-winning goal.
Well, I just want to highlight Stu Smith's comment, which I did. PLD, Kyle, and Ehlers are dominant line, professional line 2.0. They are getting there. Something we're going to talk about on next Saturday's show, the idea of where that line ranks. It's an idea as he had. Drew doesn't know yet, but I was going to tell him. But okay. I wanted to highlight Stu's comment because it is quickly becoming one of those things where that line looks fantastic together. So you do wonder how they compare to the other, lines, dominant lines, top lines in the NHL. Something we'll talk about when we have a little more time on Saturday's show.
Right.
Now, getting back to that second goal, Drew, you're right. Blake Wheeler was all smiles.
Yeah.
And our photographer, Colby Spence, took some good shots of that on, of course, the Illegal Curve Instagram. So you can go check that out right now. Not right now, but after the show. Well, you can do it right now because Instagram doesn't take any sort of brain power, really. You just kind of scroll, like. Kind of like you should be liking this show, like. So it's an interesting play because you do wonder if the Jets were getting a bit too pass happy, and are they trying to be too cute? And I saw that comment in the chat already about how the Jets were trying a little too hard to make the perfect pass. And so instance,
there's our photographer extraordinaire, Colby Spence, right there.
All right, Colby's in. All right, Hey, Colby. So, by the way, Colby took a hilarious picture. I don't know if anybody saw it, but of Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah. Like, I actually texted here. I'm going to read the text I sent Colby before the game, because I looked down and Colby was shooting the game, and then like he always does, and so he's sitting there during warm up, and I texted him saying, "Are you talking to Jack Sparrow?" Just as a joke, because the guy kind of, from my perspective in the press box, kind of looked like he was wearing a Pirates outfit. But it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why would a guy be wearing a Pirates outfit to a Jets Coyotes game?
Yeah, nothing about it make it any sense.
Yeah, I didn't understand. It didn't scream to me, this is a Pirate game. Who wants to be a Pirate? I don't want to be a Pirate. So I didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I'll
go get my puffy shirt.
Yes. So then Colby sent me the pictures of the guy who literally is dressed up like Captain Jack Sparrow, which of course I again posted on the Illegal Curve Instagram, which you can check. But as Colby says, Jack is in the peg. So it was, in fact, a guy dressed up like Captain Jack Sparrow. Who knew he was a Jets fan? But sure enough, he was in the crowd. And now, Drew, sorry, I'll get back to talking about the second Jets goal.
That's right.
Well, if there's anything that folks have learned, and something we talk about quite often, is this show never stays on the rails for very long. But yeah, I mean, it was funny. Like I tweeted, like Wheeler was literally just standing there laughing after the Jets scored that goal, because I think he just marveled at how good the pass was, and easy.
I have a different take on it. I think he was laughing because he was exhausted. Because think about his shift. He's the one who started the play, so he back checks all the way to the Jets blue line where he forces the turnover, or where he then transitions back up the ice towards the offensive zone. I think he was standing there and he was sort of laughing because he had the opportunity to score, but I also think he was gassed on the play and he was sort of chuckling, like, let's look at the great effort we all put forth to end up with the puck on my stick here, and thank God it did, because I had nothing left in the tank to try and recover another puck if it went deep in the zone, or if I had to transition back to playing defense on that play. I think it was sort of that he was chuckling both at the success of the play, and at the effort he put forth, because he really did put forth a great effort on that play, because he's the one who started it and he's the one who finished it.
Yeah, and like I guess that's totally possible as well. I think he was just a bit incredulous, because
right there. Thank you, Jason. In his post-game interview, Wheeler said he was laughing.
There we go.
He was totally gassed.
There we go. Drew's assessment was the correct one. So Drew gets the lollipop after the game. Well done, Drew. And
can I stick my lollipop in my red wine?
Yeah, you can do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
But regardless, so there you go. That explains why Blake Wheeler was laughing. And it wasn't that he was incredulous at how easy that goal was. It was because he was gassed. And regardless, 250th goal for Blake Wheeler, wearing a Winnipeg Jets uniform, his 40th game-winning goal. Of course, that's a spoiler alert in case you didn't realize the Jets won the game, but it was his 40th game-winning goal.
If you didn't know the Jets won the game and you're watching us on the post-game show,
No, that's not true. I talked to some folks about their different watching things, and some people will watch our show even if they didn't watch the game, Drew.
No. But is there anybody who ever tunes into our post-game show?
Drew, there was someone who actually said, I didn't watch the game. What was the result?
Okay.
I don't say these
shiver me timbers then, lady. I'm surprised.
I do not say this stuff out of turn, Drew. This is fact. This is fact. I fact checked this. Come on. Anywho, so he now has 40 career game-winning goals wearing a Winnipeg Jets uniform, which is still 2 behind Kyle Connor, but it ties Ilya Kovalchuk. And speaking of Ilya Kovalchuk, Mark Scheifele moved ahead of him into second all-time on the all-time points list with 616. Kovalchuk had 615. Scheifele's already second on the Jets 2.0 alone list. And also, Cole Perfetti hits the 20 assist mark for the first time in his career, obviously. And he is now tied with Mason McTavish for second on the rookie scoring list. And they're both behind Matty Beniers, who is at 36. So McTavish and Perfetti have 26 and Beniers has 36. So, he's in the mix for the Calder. Again, he's looking good. And again, as I don't want to say who was the analyst who said Cole Perfetti could replace Andrew Kopp, and you're not going to lose the offense. But he's so far
you didn't say it. You just pointed at yourself, so you're okay.
Well, I did this time, but yes, you're right. I may have said it a time or two before on a little thing called the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. But regardless, it doesn't matter. The Jets take a 2-1 lead, and you're wondering at that point, Drew, whether it is a kind of a floodgate situation because
it wasn't
you're
though.
well, but again, and the reason why, but I know it wasn't. Thank you. I did watch the game, but the reason why I say that is because one, the Coyotes are playing a back-to-back, and two, they've already lost 8 in a row. So you do wonder if they're again, you do wonder if it catches up to them and they just kind of sag a little bit. But to their credit, as you've just outlined, they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't. Look, and they were the better of the two teams in the third period as well. And the Jets were, they were fortunate. The Jets, I'm trying to think how many really, good scoring chances did they have in the third period. I mean, the one that comes to mind, of course, is Pierre-Luc Dubois ringing it off the post. Where you could see the reverberations on that. And I thought he was, not dominant. That wouldn't be the right word, but I thought he was effective, and he was a bit of a bully at times, which is how the Jets want him to be, to be there. That's how he's most impactful. But the Coyotes were, pushing and pushing and pushing, and I honestly thought they were going to tie it up. They had so many different opportunities to tie it up, and yet Connor Hellebuck stood tall, made a number of key saves. The post that the Coyotes hit was a huge one because that really should have gone in because he had a wide open net to shoot at there. But it was a victory nonetheless by the Winnipeg Jets, but not one that they're going to bottle up, not one that they're going to say that they're thrilled with. They sort of have to say, okay, we'll take the 2 points, go back on the road. Obviously, Montreal on Tuesday, Pierre-Luc Dubois is announcing a foundation of some sort tomorrow.
Yeah,
which I'm curious.
Kind of like a takeoff of what
PK Subban?
No.
Okay.
Vincent Lecavalier did for many years. And I believe Lecavalier's foundation raised $1 million, courtesy of our friend Murat Atesh, I saw him tweeting that earlier. So I believe the announcement is tomorrow at 4:00 in Montreal.
Yeah. And look, and it's a great cause, and I give kudos to any professional athlete who's giving back, or any person who's giving back to the community, because so many people do that, and they all deserve the praise for doing so. I'm going to be a little bit interested there to see if there's any element of that foundation that might benefit someone or something back in Winnipeg. Because, of course, the Pierre-Luc Dubois and his contractual status is still sort of a cloud and a topic of conversation that's happening for everybody. And, I'm trying to read through the tea leaves a little bit, and I probably might be reading too much into something. But if there's an element there that is involves a Winnipeg charity or a Winnipeg, some aspect of it that is Winnipeg related, I would say that's a good sign for the Winnipeg Jets. I have no idea.
I don't know. You know what? I don't think so. I mean, I think the reality is he wants to get back to his community.
Sure.
I think eventually he may. I mean, if he signs a long-term deal, I would see him doing something in Winnipeg as well. But I don't see that as a negative if he doesn't do something Winnipeg-based. Like, look, giving to charity is giving to charity, whether it's here in Manitoba or in Quebec. I don't really care. I'd rather just see a guy giving of himself and doing something. So giving to less fortunate is giving to less fortunate. And I'm just saying, I understand your inquiry, Drew. I would just suggest, I don't think you can read too much into it, that if there's not a Winnipeg based element to it, it doesn't mean he hates Winnipeg and won't sign here. I just think like he's wanting to give back. I mean, this is something he wanted to do last year. And again, it's going to give to the community where he grew up. And it's similar to Jonathan Toews. Like, people don't lose their mind when Jonathan Toews gives to, money to an arena here in Winnipeg, because he's giving back to the community that brought him up and supported him as a young player. So I wouldn't look at anything that Pierre-Luc Dubois is doing in Montreal and say, well, there's no Winnipeg-based connection. My suspicion would be that if he signs here long-term, you'll see that sort of take place. But my own personal opinion, I wouldn't think anything of this other than he's giving back to charity, which you want to see a lot of these young hockey players who make a lot of money be able to do.
Look, I agreed to everything. Giving to charity is first and foremost the most important thing. So I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm not, by no means am I.
And I'm not saying you're poo-pooing it.
Right.
I'm just suggesting that I don't think there's a connectivity there.
Right, that's fair enough. That's completely fair. But speaking of charity, before we wrap up the Betway game recap tonight, we do want to mention that this was the Project 11 game, which of course is a great cause, the mental health initiative that the Winnipeg Jets launched, in honor of the memory of Rick Rippon, who we all remember lost his battle. And so it was great to see all those Project 11 representatives and all the hockey talks messaging that was going on throughout the game tonight, because it's a hugely important topic, and you want to see things of that nature, and it's great to, we'd be remiss if we didn't make mention of that and highlight that. And the Project 11 choir that sang the national anthem
they were
today,
great, actually.
Yeah. So, that was terrific, and something that is a great initiative. And it was talked about. I saw Darren Dreger tweeting about it, and I think it was talked about on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast on Friday. Connor Hellebuck's book that he's produced, talking about mental health and things of that nature. So, these are all great initiatives, that deserve to be highlighted and mentioned as important. These are going to help people. What we talk about here on the post-game show and the games themselves.
Help people.
I know we help people. I'm not saying we don't help people, but these are, real things that are going to tangibly help people and remove any stigma that might exist and things of that nature. So it's more than just in passing words. You got to make mention of it to highlight the important tasks that are being done and the good deeds that are being done all over the community. Yeah,
and you got to, again, you credit organizations when they do things the right way, and you have to credit the Jets for their memory of Rick Rippon and wanting to keep his memory as part of this community and honor his legacy in the manner in which they've done and make a difference in the lives of thousands of Manitoba kids. Not necessarily every single year, but maybe they do. I don't know the numbers, but the reality is, to be honest with you, they help one kid. That's one more than anything else, and that's fantastic. So that you love to see it. You want to see you wish you didn't need that sort of initiative, but we were pragmatic on this show, and we know that it is needed and it's necessary, and these resources aren't always readily available. So you want these things for young people, for anybody really who has mental health needs, but specifically for the young people who are needing them and getting them. And like you said, Drew, it's removing the stigma from society and allowing everyone to better themselves and get healthy. And that's all that we care about. And again, like you said, it's an important initiative, and one the Jets deserve a lot of credit for maintaining.
There you go. Well said. Agreed wholeheartedly. That's been the Betway game recap for this Sunday evening. It's, of course, brought to you by Betway. It's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. When we come back here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, we'll do some contest giveaways. We'll read some of the post-game comments that came out of the Jets dressing room, and much more on the Jets and the Coyotes. The Jets victorious tonight, 2-1 over Winnipeg Jets 1.0 to move atop the Western Conference. First place in the Central, first place in the West. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk with you on a Sunday evening. Don't go anywhere. It's the Illegal Curve postgame show.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends, or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
Come on, there's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 9:35. It's a Sunday evening. Drew Mandel, Dave Manuka with you. Ezra Ginsburg getting the night off. I believe Dave Manuka is getting Tuesday night off, if I'm not mistaken. That's when we'll be next in action on the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Montreal Canadiens do battle in La Belle Provence before the Jets head out to Toronto and then Ottawa as part of this Western or Eastern Canadian road trip before it swings down through Pennsylvania again and then Nashville to wrap it all up.
Hell of a schedule.
It's just an odd schedule. I don't fully understand how it was made. I don't really understand why you fly him home from Pittsburgh and then fly him back to Philadelphia a week later. But
it's funny, Drew. We say this every year, and then I realize there's so much repetition in the NHL schedule because, and as I would know, because when I type in, if I'm doing the work on illegalcurve.com and I type in, game 42, Jets, Penguins, blah, 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 I'll see that's not the first time they've played game 42. It's actually the third time that they played the 42nd game of the season against the Penguins. So you're like, okay, there is a lot of repetition with the Jets schedule. We tend to forget, of course, and I would be curious if you actually put year after year after year, obviously not with the COVID years, but it would be very interesting to see every year how much repetition there actually is in the schedule that we tend not to focus on because of, who has a...
It sounds like you're taking a project on there, Dave. It sounds
I am
like you're
not
volunteering
taking this on.
for
Absolutely not.
Seems like somebody's volunteering to do a deep dive into some scheduling consistencies.
No.
Okay.
No.
My parents are texting me. They're now very concerned about my stress level after my speech earlier about my stress level being so high that I'm resorting to looking at a glass of red wine to relieve it. But rest assured, my parents, that I'm fine and everything shall be okay. It had to do with dinner and unfortunate customer service mishap with dinner, and you don't want to get in the way of me and my dinner because that's going to be ugly for just about everybody. But nonetheless, it shall all be fine. It shall all work out.
I kind of feel like we need to talk about that, Drew, because clearly I jokingly tweeted at you, although
that was funny.
It really is a shame that you have to I saw Kenny's water bottle say, and I didn't see the exact reason he put that in there, but he said something about having sarcasm emojis. Put the little eyes indicating you're being sarcastic. But it's like, if you want to be sarcastic, do you really want to have to be sarcastic and indicate you're being sarcastic? It's kind of a shame. It's one of those things that's been lost. And I understand context is hard to read through text.
Mhm.
But like, it is a shame that you have to indicate, yes, I'm being sarcastic. I remember once I'll give you an example, Jets related example. I once made a joke about Patrick Laine only having 40, like it was mostly assists.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. Some guy was like, started ripping on me saying, your typical media complaining about this. And I'm thinking to myself, if you have a fucking brain cell in your head, you can read my text and you can understand what it said. What, like, if I'm lauding him for having all of these assists, it's a pretty obvious that I'm like being sarcastic. And this guy's like, and then the worst part was he thought I was doubling down. And I was like, you're just too stupid to understand. That's not me doubling down. That's not my fault. That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. And then it turned out he was like I had a buddy who was buddies with him. And I texted him. I said, is your friend okay? Because he's like going at me. And I'm like, I don't think this guy is all there. So anywho, that's right. F-bomb alert. Sorry, Spencer.
Dave getting fired up on us.
Fired up. I want to be able to be sarcastic.
See that coming on this Sunday evening, that Dave's all of a sudden getting all fired up and everything.
Well,
but I
don't
appreciate
like
it
it.
nonetheless.
I don't like it. Don't try and challenge me when I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, that's right. You should know Dave's sarcasm because it's clear for everybody. I want to give a Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. I'm going to give it out to I don't know if it's Hey Bale. I think it's Hey Bale more than likely. We're talking about Project 11 and how important of initiative it is. His comment, her comment, I'm not entirely sure, but let's go with the comment. Growing up with Tourette's, it would have been nice to have a Project 11 initiative back in my day. We were taught to turn the other cheek, and that really is speaks to the importance of these kind of initiatives and things of that nature, and why they're so important, why it makes the world a little bit more of a caring place. And isn't that so important, that with nowadays everyone's so quick to anger and everyone's so quick to judge and everyone's so quick to dismiss. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And I think things like this Project 11 initiative and so many of the other good causes that are being supported, not necessarily strictly by the Winnipeg Jets, but just good causes and good people and good and people who just care about their fellow human being need to be highlighted, and it's so important. So, hey Bale, that's the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Congrats.
Send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com, or you can slide into my Twitter DMs @ICDrew. Send us your mailing address. We'll send you out a toque, courtesy of our good friends at Tough Duck, for tonight's hardest hitting comment. What about the Illegal Curve merchandise contest? You want to do that, Dave M? Okay, double thumbs up coming from Dave M. So, of course, the merchandise contest, it happens after each and every post-game show here on our YouTube channel. The way to enter, you click in the show description. You'll see a link there, and it says contest link. Click that link. You'll see a whole list of things you can do to earn entries. And the more you do those things and the more often you do those things, the more entries you get and the more chances you have to win authentic Winnipeg Jets gear that we give away here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. One of those things that you can do, one of those ways to get 10 entries, is to enter the unique code word, a unique code word that you can only find by tuning into this Illegal Curve post-game show here on YouTube or the podcast version, whatever way it is. I don't know if anyone's guessed it. Has anyone Dave and I were going back and forth?
Yes, Drew.
Really? Somebody guessed it. Okay.
But I already outed you. I said this was a Drew word. I take no responsibility for this word. So Drew's going to explain it, why he chose it. I was a little late to this because obviously I became a delivery person today for Illegal Curve. Yes. So I was busy meeting and greeting.
Submit your gas receipts to us. Our accountant will send those over to you. Get them back to you in about 6 to 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still waiting to be paid back from the 2017 draft, but although I didn't actually go to the 2017 draft, I was supposed to. My Baba got sick, but so I didn't go to the 2017 draft in Chicago. I was supposed to go with Ezzy. My Baba got sick, so I didn't want to leave. So I stuck around in Winnipeg, unfortunately for Ez. So Ez had already committed to going. We were going to drive because it was just in Chicago. Instead, he ended up having to fly. And instead, and again, love the guy. But sometimes there's a word in Jewish called sechel, and it's like, sometimes Ezzy doesn't have the most sechel because he picked a flight home that was like the most circuitous route ever from Chicago. Instead of taking Chicago to direct or Chicago to
where did he overnight? He had
Duluth.
the Duluth, Minnesota airport.
He was literally the only person in the airport in Duluth at like, I don't even know. Maybe he was, but anyways, he was the only person there.
Didn't he fly Chicago, Duluth?
No, he actually flew Chicago, St. Paul, Duluth, Winnipeg.
No, there's no Duluth, Winnipeg flight. He must have gone Chicago, Duluth, Minneapolis,
yes,
Winnipeg.
Sorry, I reversed it. Yes, but the point is, that's what he did. And
I bet you folks didn't know until just now that you could fly from Chicago to Duluth, because I really didn't until all of a sudden Ezzy's overnighting in the Duluth airport by himself, literally the only person I think in the airport. It was Mr. Ginsburg overnight coming home from that draft.
Yeah. Anyways, so anywho, then it was very funny, and I mean, I wish I would have gone to the draft, but anywho, that was a sidebar.
Yeah, there you go. Kenny's water bottle is 100% right. If you're catching a connection in Duluth, something has gone horribly wrong. Yeah, that horribly wrong was letting Ezzy have responsibility for his own travel plans. There
we go. There's the explanation of the word sechel, which I was so excited. I didn't get a chance. It's having sense. And Ezzy sometimes doesn't have a lot of sechel or sense. Either way you say it.
But we do love him nonetheless, and that's he is our Ezzy, and that's just another one of those stories that only Ezzy can have.
That's why we call him. He's our Ezzy.
That's right. He is our Ezzy. What were we talking about before? Oh, right, the unique code.
You were going to explain why you chose to give the unique code word that you give.
It's just that where the Jets were playing the Coyotes, of course, and in Arizona, they play in. I don't even know where the hell they play now. They play in Tempe because that's where the University of Arizona is. They used to play, of course, in Glendale. I've spent some time in Scottsdale, so I thought for the unique code word for the illegal curve contest, and anyone who's been to that area of the United States might be able to appreciate this. The unique code word is Old Town Scottsdale.
I didn't appreciate it. For the record, I did not appreciate it.
Right. I know you've never been there, but anyone who's been to Arizona might know that Old Town Scottsdale is sort of a unique neighborhood. It's got its charms. It's got its quirks. It sort of feels like you're walking back in time a little bit to a Western movie with an old time saloon feel going on there. But Old Town Scottsdale is the unique code word for the illegal curve contest.
I like how Frosty is so excited that he, like, as soon as you're about to do it, he puts it in the chat. Old Town Scottsdale. Well done, Frosty. Frosty got it, but someone else got it too. I think there was more than whoa. Beep. Beep.
Yeah, you didn't know
beep,
this?
Beep. MC Buddha is blowing my mind. Get rid of the contest thing for right now, Drew. Bring this up.
This isn't confirmed.
Now hold on.
I can give the context on this.
Uno momento, por favor.
Okay.
Now, if Krispy Kreme's about to become a sponsor of Illegal Curve, I take back all my comments.
Yeah.
I wish we were getting a Dunkin' Donuts, because if anybody has been to the U.S. or spent any time in the U.S., Dunkin' Donuts is better than Krispy Kreme. That's right. That's my hot take for the night. Because Dunkin' Donuts, if you want to compare it, if you want to put a Winnipeg spin on it, that's like comparing Robin's Donuts, which are awesome, to Tim Hortons Donuts, which suck. Go on.
Your blunt nature is certainly on display there, Dave. But I don't know that this is confirmed. I know it's going around on Twitter that there's maybe a master plan for some new development at the Seasons of Tuxedo, the outlet mall. It said on there that that Krispy Kreme is apparently going to be there, also an Arby's or something. So I mean, I know I saw there was an element of excitement going around on the Twitterverse earlier today as a result of this. But whatever it might be, if it is, I mean, well, I suspect I know that Ezra is going to be excited. I didn't realize you would be that excited. You don't strike me as a sweets guy very much, even though we did just have our extensive coffee or chocolate bar conversation on Saturday's show.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I wouldn't enjoy Krispy Kreme. I'm just saying that I tend to enjoy Dunkin' Donuts more. And that's why Ezzy and I were running around Nashville with a giant box of Dunkin' Donuts and, man, just eating them like nobody's business. Dunkin's good. Just saying.
Okay, well, thank you. And then,
and again, I don't want to dump on Krispy Kreme. I think, in fact, I've only had them maybe once with our boy KK in North Dakota, but I'm not entirely certain maybe I've had them more than once. They're good. I just, again, like I said, it's like, if I'm not comparing them to Tim Hortons Donuts, but I'm just saying, it seems to me like Robin's here, Morton's here. Duncan's here. Chris Green there.
Noxie is concerned that we've lost the plot tonight, and I got to say, Noxie, that more often than not on this show we do lose the plot. That is just.
I'm like, what would what makes this night any different than any other night?
That's right, Manishtana. If you want to keep up with the Hebrew and the Passover and everything else, the winner of the illegal curve merchandise contest. We know that the unique code word is Old Town Scottsdale.
Hold on. I want to let's go support the local O Donuts and Bro Nuts. We'll give them a shout out too. They actually, I will say, and again, I'm not a fancy donut kind of person. Although, if you want, I got a great picture when I was in California last year. I had these specialty ones, but these were literally made to order. I have to say, made to order donuts, insane. But O Donuts and Bro Nuts, I've had them. They are very good as well. But so there's our donut segment of the night. This is a shame that Ezzy is not here, because if anybody likes a good donut, it is Big Daddy.
This is you and I talking about donuts and not Ezzy being here is sort of, the expert is.
Sean's pessimism is right. There's a plot to this thing now.
There's no
plot and hasn't been a plot in a long time.
The plot got derailed a long.
Sean Reynolds brooding pessimism. That's a great name.
Do you want to give the winner out?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm happy to give the winner out.
Thank you. Please go for it. I'll remove the banner of the Old Town Scottsdale.
Now, I didn't know if I should use the winner's pseudonym or their real name. So I'm going to use the real name because that's how they submitted their themselves. Some is like In Bones. For the record, In Bones, I sent you an email in case you didn't get it. Send me a DM on Twitter just in case, because the email's a little funky. But so because I haven't gotten a response from you yet. But so some people use their pseudonyms. Some people use their real names. This person chose to use their real name. So if you want to reveal yourself, you can. If you don't, I will maintain your anonymity and not reveal who your pseudonym is. But Neil Ferguson, congratulations. Neil Ferguson is in the chat. I saw them earlier.
Yes.
Him earlier. So
Yes.
I'm still not going to out you, because again, you may not want to be outed. You may want to bask in your anonymity. So, but congratulations to Neil Ferguson. Like I said, I saw you in the chat. Saw a lot of the winners in the chat, and again, a lot of future winners as well. Hopefully, now that our friends at Betway are back to sponsoring the Jets, we get even more merch. We'll see. We never know.
That would be a very lovely idea. I think
Yes.
that you are that makes a lot of sense from my perspective.
Maul, by the way, Maul, you're not the winner. I know Maul isn't Neil Ferguson. Nice try. Turd Ferguson saying not me. Turd, that's a good point. That you are not Neil Ferguson. That is a good point. Rob Mahoney asking if Neil and Turd are brothers. Not to the best of my knowledge, they're not. But regardless, congrats to Neil Ferguson. I will be. What do you mean you haven't figured out how? Turd is saying, "Swear on my life, it ain't me. I haven't figured out how to enter yet, but I also haven't tried to enter yet." Well, that explains why. There you go.
I appreciate that kind of honesty.
There you go.
Last word on tonight's post game show goes to Winnipeg Jets head coach Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Winnipeg Jets head coach Rick Bowness talking about Pierre-Luc Dubois. Quote, I know he has 20 goals now, but he's very underrated defensively. He's a solid two-way player right now. He really is. Give him a lot of credit for that, because he uses his size and his reach and his strength at both ends of the rink now. So that's Jets head coach Rick Bowness on Pierre-Luc Dubois. He was then also asked about the Jets being in first place in the Western Conference.
Oh, by the way, sorry, Drew. Neil Ferguson.
There you go.
Revealed.
It's your boy Bruce is Neil Ferguson, folks. There you go.
All right.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, is your boy Bruce, and also Neil Ferguson on being the winner of tonight's contest. So congrats, Neil, or as he's also known, is your boy Bruce.
There you go. Congratulations. His middle name.
Sorry,
is Bruce.
I didn't mean to derail you, but whenever the winner shows up, we throw them up on the thing. So congratulations to is your boy, and more importantly,
I'm not highlighting the comment, Maul, but that's funny. You'll see it in a second there, Dave.
Okay, but anyways, wouldn't that be funny if it really was? Yeah. What I was going to say is, but remember, there's lots of more opportunities to win. And as I explained to Chris, who I think is in the chat today, just because you're the winner of the merch doesn't mean you can't be the grand prize winner. Everybody, in fact, the winner of last month's contest was a merchandise winner. So there you go.
Keep on entering. The more you enter, the more tasks you complete, the more entries you get, the more chances you have to win.
And tell other people that you come and watch the illegal. I mean, I talked to Rob today, and he said he lets everybody know he knows about the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, the Illegal Curve post-game show. So share that information with your friends, your family. Share it on Facebook. Share it on. And sorry, Drew, one last sort of segue.
Yes.
If I've invited you to like the Illegal Curve page on Facebook, folks, I see a lot of people have been sent an invite from IC, which is usually me sending it to you. Just so you know,
I'm not on Facebook, so you're not going to get.
Well, I'm not on Facebook either myself personally, other than to manage the page. But I'm saying that there's a lot of people who have been invited. I like that, Tracy. Tracy's, and by the way, the other thing, Michael Smith, who got his merch today, he sent us a picture. He was wearing an old school IC toque. So it's always great to see people wearing the old merch and the new merch. So let's go.
There you go.
You've got the conch again.
Thank you. I hope that I do. I was saying that this is courtesy again of Murat's Atesh's Twitter feed. Winnipeg first in the Western Conference. Rick Bowness says it's a testament to his players' resilience. The travel, the injuries, the illnesses. He says these are all reasons his players deserve credit. It's meaningful, he says, even at game 44. And it is meaningful. The Winnipeg Jets atop the Western Conference after game 44, which was a 2-1 victory tonight on home ice against the Arizona Coyotes. The Jets head out on a 5-game road trip starting Tuesday night in Montreal. We'll be back on Tuesday night at 8:45 p.m., give or take a couple minutes, for the Illegal Curve post-game show. Want to say a big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal
Drew,
Curve.
I have a question
Dave?
for you. Hold on one second. I just want to hold on. Let me just hide that, because I know you're about to do the thing. But hold on. What about this?
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to watch the end of the Ravens-Bengals game, if you don't
What
mind.
do you mean? Don't you? But don't you want to hear what happened in the Moose game?
I believe they won in Belleville, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Okay, I got that part. Go ahead, I'm listening. I can multitask.
Can you, though?
I can. I'm a very good multitasker.
Okay. Well, it all began with our friend Dominic.
I might even go do the dishes and come back and see it. That's how good of a multitasker I am.
I don't think so. You gotta stick around and hear this. This is important stuff. The Moose, after the unfortunate situation in Toronto the night before, were able to get to Belleville to take on the Senators, conclude a 6-game road trip out east, and it got started with Dominic Toninato scoring a beauty little tip goal. I think it was his third in 5 games, and opened up the scoring in Belleville for the Manitoba Moose, followed by Jeff Malott, who scored a very similar goal on the power play, his team leading 16th of the season. Then Tyler Boland made it a 3-0 game for Manitoba. That would actually turn out to be the game-winning goal, and followed by Ville Heinola, who was getting back into action, of course, having been reassigned to the Moose when the Jets got back some healthy bodies and needed a forward. And it'll be interesting to see what's happening with, Jay Miller's happy that and Dan, a lot of folks are happy that the Minuk Moose Minute is back.
Look, everyone enjoys the Moose Minute. I apologize. This is on me. I forgot that they played last night, and I forgot that we haven't had an opportunity to talk about it. So keep on going. People enjoy the Minuk Moose Minutes.
Yeah, I like Kenny Waterbottle's suggestion. I should insert a question randomly to test if you are actually actively listening, Drew.
I'm an active listener. I'm very good at active listening.
Yeah, but Drew, well, that's fine. We'll see. But anywho, the point is the Moose, Ville Heinola. Oh, so one bird is telling me that Bengals tip ball. So I guess a lot of folks are focused on that. But regardless, Moose took a 4-0 lead. Ville Heinola, very unusual goal. Pass over by Simon Lundmark, the 2019 second rounder. So same draft class as Ville Heinola. He's a right shot defenseman. A lot of folks don't pay attention to him, but he's a guy who's worth taking note of. And he picked up his 10th assist of the season on Ville Heinola's goal. And then the Moose would hang on to win 4-2 in the end. So they come back and they're feeling good about themselves. And they should, because, they've lost a number of games, but they've been sidelined they've lost some guys to injury. We'll find out more. They traveled today, so we'll find out tomorrow. They're back in action, practicing, getting ready to play 6 at home, starting with the Chicago Wolves on Tuesday night. So
it seems like they've been on the road like the entire month of January so far, except for I guess New Year's Eve, right? They obviously played New Year's Eve, but it seems like it's been a while since they've had a home game.
It has been. So they played those 2 against Abbotsford, and then they went back out on the road, and then now they've got the 6. So actually, hold on a second, Drew, because we may even have tickets to start giving away, and there may not be many opportunities. Although to be honest with you, I can usually do it on my Twitter, and people want to go to the games. But oh no, we don't have any tickets for this week, but we have tickets for next weekend.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. I'll do that on probably Wednesday's show. Oh, Thursday's show. There's
no show. Take Wednesday off.
Well, I won't be taking Wednesday off. I'll be at the Canada Life watching the Moose and the Chicago Wolves.
Take Wednesday off from the YouTube channel. You can take Wednesday off.
Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do a show. Does anybody want to do? Maybe I'll do a solo. Maybe I'll do a solo Dave Manuke experience.
Who wants to do a Moose post game show with Dave? I think that I tune in for that.
Anyway, so the point is that that we'll have tickets to give away for the thing, and then the question about from One Bird, which we should answer, Drew. Did the Ice win yesterday? They did, in fact, win 8-3 over the Prince Albert Raiders. So they, the Medicine Hat Tigers, they leave to go play the Prince Albert Raiders on Wednesday. The Ice are a very good hockey team. They are now 35-1 on the season, leading the Eastern Conference. So they had a doozy of a game, a battle against Seattle, which Seattle won in OT. Portland with Chaz Lucius, I don't think they've got all of his stuff worked out yet, so he hasn't played yet. Brad Lambert played for Seattle after they left when they were in Saskatchewan. I'm not sure which team they were playing against, but I know he scored in his first game back in the WHL. So it's a good place. I don't know that we've spent too much time talking, and I know, Drew, we've already been doing this show for a long time. Folks are going to want to get to Kenny and Rennie.
Yes.
But I think that's the best place for those two prospects, and then they'll get an opportunity to rejoin the Moose once their WHL seasons are done and join the Moose for potentially a long playoff run. So that's going to be good for their development, I think, for this year.
Yeah, and we have to, before we wrap up, just wanted to give a shout out to Kenny. He did a great job on Hockey Night in Canada.
I told him today in the press box. I saw him. We were walking together, and I said, "Congratulations, you did." And I didn't realize, I watched because I didn't. Obviously, doing something like that is significant, and I should give a shout. I actually said to Kenny, that's how we started the conversation. I actually said, Ken, I got to tell you, that was probably the best Jets broadcast that I've ever seen in since the Jets have been back. It was. I'm sorry, it was the best. It went it was front to back, top to bottom. It was all about the Jets.
Sure.
So for the people who are watching, everything was Jets related. And sure, there's a lot of Jets material to talk about, but you watched the intermission, it was Jets related. Both periods. So it was very interesting. I thought it was a very good one. And then when Kenny said it was emotional for him, I didn't really know the reference. And then I watched
the podcast. Go back.
I watched the Kenny and Rennie, and I listened to what I could see in Ken's face that there was an emotional element to it. But then he explained it. So congrats to Kenny on making his I guess HNIC, Drew?
HNIC. Say it how it properly is said, at least in my mind and nobody else's mind. But yes, HNIC is how you have to say it. So kudos to our buddy Kenny for that and doing a
every
great
once
job.
In a while, Drew. Sorry, I always look at the chat, but when it's just the two of us, I tend to look at you and refocus, but I will obviously read the chat. And I literally just look over and I see Spencer writing, 2 men in a tub. Who says no? I don't understand the context, but all I think about is Ezzy and Spencer, and I meant Spencer today, so I can understand that, in a tub together.
A big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve who make the post-game show, the website, and the Saturday show a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, they're the official title sponsor of the post-game show. Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Big thanks to all of you for joining us. It's been a very busy last 4 straight days. Thursday postgame, Friday postgame, Saturday morning, Sunday postgame. We're going to take tomorrow off from the YouTube channel, but of course, illegalcurve.com will keep churning out the great content you've come to expect day in and day out, night in and night out. Thanks to all of you for joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button on the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere. Tell your friends, tell your family. The best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and again on Saturday mornings, is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. Big thanks to Dave Manouk for joining us. I'm your host, Drew Mandel. The Jets are victorious and in first place in the Western Conference until Tuesday night. We wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.